Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Let's go. Let's laugh. We are imperfect after all.
Okay. All right. Hello and welcome to the Imperfect Us Podcast. I'm Leanne Camilleri.
And I am Leesa Downs.
As co-hosts of the Imperfect Us Podcast, we will share relatable stories that celebrates we are perfectly imperfect humans leading imperfect lives.
We will share these stories through open and honest conversations with our extraordinary guests. And together we will discover practical and evidence-based strategies to enable us to navigate the constant challenges and changes of everyday life. We are super excited to share these conversations as we draw on the science of wellbeing and positive psychology to shine a light on how the imposter syndrome shows up for 70% of the population. It's our heartfelt hope that what we share helps you and others to stand up to their imposter thoughts so that we can focus on being our best selves and do what we really aspire to do and be.
This podcast has been recorded on the lands of the Wadawurrung and Kaurna peoples. We acknowledge the traditional custodians and protectors of the lands we meet on today and recognise all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples' unique cultural and spiritual relationships to the land, waters and seas. We celebrate and pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, traditions, culture and the hopes for a better world for all people. Let's get started.
Yay! And recording.
Throughout season 1, we will be sharing insights and stories of why and how the imposter syndrome may derail us from showing up as our authentic selves. We will explore the research that highlights a more optimistic viewpoint, suggesting that imposter thoughts may increase our motivation for future learning and success.
Well, let's start off with what is the imposter syndrome? Here we go. Do you downplay your achievements? Are you reluctant to speak openly in case you seem like a fraud? Or maybe you find it hard to accept compliments. Do you feel uncomfortable receiving praise or congratulations? Do you feel that past success and hard work would only due to luck? Are you fearful that you are not meeting other people's expectations of you? Are you worried that someone will find out you are not as capable as they first thought? Or perhaps you worry that you are just not good enough.
I said yes to many of those, Leesa. Well,
Same.
When you feel like this, you're experiencing what scientists call the imposter syndrome. That is, you believe that you're not as capable as others think you are, even though you well and truly are.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Leanne, I was just thinking about why this podcast even came about, thinking about how we had so many conversations about that we don't think we are as capable as others think we are. And yet when we've had these conversations, we know that we well and truly are capable of doing things, but we just don't like to share that with others. And I'm just wondering, can you share a story about when you really had an imposter syndrome about something in your life that and what happened?
Well, Leesa, it's shown up so often in my life. There's many occasions that I can recall where this has shown up. But when I think about a recent time where it's really shown up for me in 2020, I completed the Masters of Applied Positive Psychology. Throughout that whole time of my master's, every time I received a call from a private number, or every time I received a call from a private number or seen an email from the uni, I was sure, absolutely certain, it was Melbourne University ringing to tell me, "Sorry, Leanne, we've made a mistake. And you can't continue with the master's degree." And you know what? Somehow, I don't know how, Leesa, I made it all the way through, and I have a master's degree. Can you believe it? So obviously, I have some capability if I have a master's degree, but my imposter doesn't believe me.
You can't hear me because I'm on mute because I was laughing so much.
You should have laughed.
No, but do you know what I'm thinking is that I had to, because I was giggling, thinking, oh my God, the same thing happened. And I know we've had conversations about this before where we shared that same story. So I did my Masters of Applied Positive Psych the same as you at Melbourne Uni, but the year before is when I finished. However, we went through that journey together where we were talking about, should we apply? Shouldn't we apply? Oh my God, maybe I'm not capable enough to be able to apply. Holy cow, maybe I just will apply and see what happens. And for me, that's what happened. The same thing. I didn't have the worry that someone was going to tell me I'm in the wrong course. It was more when I was writing the application that I had to write why I was worthy in a way of coming and doing this course. And I'm thinking, oh my God, well, maybe I'm not. And what do I say? And then when I did it, I was pretty proud of what I had written. And then when I got in, so this is the and then, but when I got in, I freaked out and thought, well, what did I write in there? Did I write the wrong thing? Was I a fraud in what I had said? And that for me was a pure imposter syndrome. But then that wasn't as bad as day one of when they welcomed all of the new MAP, which is Masters of Applied Positive Psychology students, into the room. And at that time, we had about 50 people in the room, all extraordinary humans, psychologists, physiologists, physiotherapists, doctors, nurses, teachers, oh my God, neuroscientists, researchers, just an array of amazing people. And I was panicking. I had sweats because I thought, I'm not meant to be here. And someone is going to find out. How could I possibly be doing a master's degree with these people? And I did. And I fell down the stairs at the end. That's another story for another podcast. I've made it eventually. However, the imposter thoughts are there all the time. And I remember one more conversation, Leanne, where recently you asked me about why I don't share my successes with others. And I had no idea that was actually about being an imposter or having imposter thoughts. I just thought that it was a normal thing where you just, don't share those sorts of things with others. Sometimes, if people ask me, I go, oh, yeah, but I downplay it all. But now what I realize is that's not me. That's me thinking I'm not as capable as what other people think I am. And therefore I should just shush and say nothing.
Oh, I'm totally hearing you there. I do this too. I do it. And going back to the master's application, I think about, what I said and maybe I write too much about myself? Like, or was I just lucky? Maybe someone couldn't take part and that left a space and therefore yes. I could get in.
That is so what I would say. Oh, for sure.
I know it's crazy, but it's so real. We think these things, don't we?
I know. And I think, what we've been talking about before we started to record any of the podcasts is how we thought we were unique in some way, that somehow we were the special ones that really have the imposter syndrome and nobody else does.
We were imposter sisters, the only two in the world.
And we know it's not, because we know other people that do it. And so our conversations have been talking about that it shows up in the workplace. It shows up at home. I notice it at schools all the time, and I hear it from young children. So that's sort of part of why I'm really excited about this podcast, because I want to be able to share. It's not just adults. It's not just youth. It's young children. It's all of us. And I think absolutely. If we can learn some of those strategies, how to deal with that, but also to own our stories and perhaps challenge our stories a little bit more. I think we're so rich on being the negative side. Oh, I can't do that because, or we don't ever celebrate our successes. But I think there's a shift that we need to have to help and support others to really show up as their best selves a little bit more.
I totally agree. And I think, as we've gone down the path of exploring the imposter syndrome, which was actually originally a phenomenon, yes. described as a phenomenon.
Back in 70 something. Yeah.
It shows up I do one-on-one coaching. I do stuff in workplaces and in the community as well. And I find so often talking to people, I see the imposter sitting on their shoulder as they tell me stories or share their self-doubt their self-confidence is compromised in some way. And it is funny, isn't it, how as we have these discussions, we're loving exploring this and learning more about it and standing up more and more to our imposter, which, by the way, my imposter, her name is Lucy, and that's not a coincidence.
I have one too. I've got Bob. Why is it Lucy for you?
Lucy is short for Lucifer, because she's the little devil that sits on my shoulder and challenges me every time. Oh,
you're funny. Oh, can I tell you the story behind mine? Because it's so funny. So where it came from for me, and obviously there's lots of research, but a long time ago I read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic. And in there, now, if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend you do, because she talks in there in one of her chapters about taking control of that imposter thinking and thoughts, and the amygdala that actually really in your brain tries to hijack you all the time. And so she referred, or sort of made an analogy, that you are in control. If you were driving a car, you're in control of that car. You choose to sit in the front seat. You choose to listen to the radio station or whatever it is you're putting on. You're putting on the music. You're driving. You're going in the place you want to go. And your imposter thoughts need to sit in the back seat, because your imposter thoughts do have a skill of trying to protect you. If a dinosaur was coming, or, if you had to stop suddenly, the imposter, might call out, stop, red light, or whatever. So you need them for safety, but you don't need them to jump across the front seat and turn the music over because they don't like it. We're driving our own selves. And so where that came up, and I was talking to the students about that I work with, and they're young kids. And so for young kids, we really want to make a visual for them to help them to understand, positive psychology, the science of wellbeing, neuroscience and so forth. You can't tell them the official terms because they go, what are you talking about? You could bring a story into it. And I remember telling them a story, and I said, I name my imposter thoughts. And they went, what is it, Mrs. Downs? And I just went, I had no idea. And I went, Bob. So it had to be Bob forever. So that's where mine came from. But it's really useful. And of course, they love it, because then they make up their own names and they love it. They forget sometimes what it is. I said, what's your imposter thoughts name again? Who is it? And they go, Bob. I'll say something else. Anyway, I think it's a great strategy to name it, so then you become a little bit more aware of it.
We'll be sure to share the link to that book in our show notes.
Definitely.
Another perspective I like is Adam Grant's perspective of Think Again, and his book. Fantastic about challenging those thoughts when we do have those imposter thoughts, thinking again and using it as a positive way forward to challenge those thoughts and move forward.
I really like that reframing, and actually stopping and using that mindfulness practice, really, of being a bit more aware, like stop and give that pause and hang on, is that actually even true, what we're saying to ourselves? Actually, no, it's not. Okay, what's my different perspective? How can I reframe that or relearn it? And there's quite a few different strategies a lot of people are using, which I really love. And I totally agree with you, Leanne, because Adam Grant's book, Think Again, is so fantastic. I highly recommend it to everyone. He also has a really good podcast called Work Life with Adam Grant. And in this podcast, what I love the most is that he highlights some of the benefits of the imposter syndrome according to some of the recent findings of Professor Basima Tufik. Now, she has found that the behaviours that imposters exhibit to compensate for their self-doubt can actually make their jobs better. And she suggests that this is because when we lean into the feelings of inadequacy rather than trying to resist or overcome them, that we can actually use our imposter thoughts as a motivation for learning. And then we're really able to change the way we approach our thoughts and feelings in a more positive light, rather than becoming really fearful, oh, we can't, oh my goodness, everyone's going to find out, and not actually taking any action. And because we know that the imposter thoughts can actually be limiting as well. So we really want to flip that.
And this is a strategy that I lean into. I've been trying to lean into more, which is really helping because, these imposter thoughts can be limiting as well.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely I've probably held back from opportunities or, held back from perhaps even speaking up for fear of, being the imposter or saying the wrong thing or,
yes.
not even knowing anything,
Definitely.
it shows up in all sorts of ways. Leesa, I'm mindful of time and I know that we have so much to talk about. That perhaps we should save some of our conversations for our wonderful guests that we've got coming up. I'm very excited.
I'm wrapped as well. And I tell you what, you're all going to be very thrilled because our guests come from a multitude of fields and a lot of different experiences and also a lot of different age groups. So it's one for everything, but it's also hopefully going to unite us in that we're all on this journey together. And perhaps if you are really excited and you might have a story to tell, we would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
You might be able to contact us through either some of our social media, which we'll put into our show notes, but also in LinkedIn. Yes. So reach out if you'd love to be a guest, a superstar guest on our podcast. We would love that.
Or even if there's someone that you think we should talk to, we're all
dob them
in.
Dob them in. Definitely dob them in, Leanne. Love it.
Yeah, dob them in.
I know. Right. And they'll have the imposter syndrome when you tell them, but you know what? Let us know that let them know where we know it's okay.
Yeah. All right, well, here we are at the end of our little trailer, our little sneak peek into what's to come.
And Leanne, guess what? If they're actually listening to this podcast, we have officially launched, woohoo, our podcast, The Imperfect Us.
Take that, imposter.
I know, but really we need to thank a few people. Leanne, did you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Who am I thinking?
Outro, my honey bunch. I'll start. You do the second part. Oh, I know. Sorry, I was in a group. I'll do this first part. You do the second part.
Okay, right? Sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to The Imperfect Us. And as always, we are extremely grateful for our amazing executive producer, Brenton Ainsworth, for helping us to put this episode together and also the incredible music throughout the show.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you care about. And we'd be grateful if you could rate this podcast on iTunes. To find out more about Leesa and myself, we welcome you to connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook. And we are really looking forward to taking this journey with you. Bye for now.
Bye for now. I love it.